Renewed Mind Revolution Podcast. A place that empowers, encourages, and informs. We're breaking through, we're rising strong. A brand new mindset where we belong. Empowered voices, hearts aligned. Encouraging truth, renewed in mind. It's the revolution. Let your spirit soar. We're here to lift you, give you so much more. Encourage and power, informed with love. A renewed mind journey, grace from above. Stepping in the purpose of wisdom lead, planting the seeds of faith we need. Hope ignites and visions clear. The revolution's calling, we're here. Empower the nations, where we belong. A renewed mind journey, grace from above. It's the revolution, let your spirit soar. We're here to lift you, give you so much more. Encourage and power, form with love. A renewed mind journey, grace from above. Step into purpose, let wisdom lead, planting the seeds of faith we need. Hope ignites and visions clear.
Welcome to Renewed Mind Revolution Podcast with your host, Michelle Cookall. As always, it is always, and I mean always, my honor and my pleasure to be able to come on, share some tips and some tools with you that I know will assist you in becoming a better version of yourselves. Now, this is a place where we recoup. This is a place where we reset. This is a place where we breathe and we inhale and we exhale, right? This is that place. This is that safe place. This is not the place for chaos, for nonsense, for anything, but just breathing in a place of refuge, right? We all need that place, a place of safety, a place where you can go and listen and you don't have to, just bombard your head with a lot of things that bring stress. But this is a place where we find ways to eliminate as much stress as possible, right? This is the place where we learn how to cope with everyday burdens, everyday chaos, everyday stressors, right? And they come in all forms, all forms, people, environment, situations. But this is the place and where we come in which we learn how to share our tips, our tools from experiences, from research on how to cope with everyday stresses, right? So, first thing I want to share with you today, because I'm thinking about you. I'm concerned about you, right? And I said, what can I do for my listeners that would help them, especially now with everything that is going on? What can I do to help them? Always thinking about you. And I came up with Renewed Mind Journal. Now, I have something very special for you today. Now, today is October the 23rd, 2025. And for the first 10 people who message me, they will get this free. They just need to pay for the shipping, but you will get this free. All you have to do is message me, okay? That's all. That's because I care. I care and I get it. This is a renewed mind journal. Let me emphasize to you this is faith-based, which means that it has regular journal information in here as far as self-reflection and awareness. You have opportunity to write down your self-reflection and your awareness. And it also has, which I think is super cool because I used to do this all the time, a 5-minute journaling. Just put your thoughts together, writing it down. Write down your thoughts. Write down your day. Write down what's going on every day. This is a 30-day journal, right? But the best part, in which makes it faith-based, is I put little snippets of different books that I have done over time. and I have put different snippets in here. This is God Loves You. It's a daily devotion, but it comes from a book, one of my own books. So you have 30 days of a collection of snippets, excerpts from my book in this prayer, well, it's not prayer journal, but in this journal, right? And like I stated, you have an opportunity to reflect, you have an opportunity to journal, and you do this for 30 days, okay? And every day you get a little snippet, a little excerpt of one of my books in my collection, okay? So for the first 10 people, and I keep it fair, you will get a free book because we need it, right? We need it. We need something that is going to be helpful, something that is going to give us some tools during this particular time. But not only that, we need something that is cost efficient during this particular time. So that's why I'm going to give it to you for free. All you got to do is pay for shipping and handling. Okay, is that fair? That's fair. So let's get into our chat today. There's so much that we could talk about, right? There's so much happening. You cannot nowhere in the world watch the news without being affected somehow. Um, whether you are young, whether you are old or older, elderly, it doesn't matter. And I have all generations around me. I'm very fortunate, right? So I have the younger generation, I have the middle age, and I have the elderly, older. I have it all around me. So I hear all perspectives and I hear all concerns and I hear the frustration. And I think lately what I hear most is this frustration, this fear, this anger, that I hear, and I understand 100% what we are dealing with, what we are experiencing. But what I am here today to do is to help you to handle that, to deal with all of the constant reporting, constant news, constant stressors, constant frustration, and be realistic about it. Be realistic about it. I would never come on here and try to numb anything. I don't believe in numbing. Numbing to me is not healthy, but I do believe in healing. And I know who's the source of that, right? So I believe in healing, but I do know also there's some practical tools as well that we can use, practical things that we can do to assure that our mental health is fine, our physical health is fine, our whole person is fine. And it's processing and handling things in a proper way, right? And if not ever, then especially now. That is so important, so important. And here we always try to be very honest and transparent about the expectations, the expectations. Um, so just like you, I have listened and been bombarded with constant news. I watch news a lot, different outlets, because I want to be informed, right? I want to be educated. I want to know what's happening, where I'm living, where I'm residing. It's my responsibility, right? Um, and so a lot of people around me are just like tired of it. They're done with it, right? They don't want to hear it anymore. They don't want to experience it anymore. They're frustrated about it. And I'm always thinking of, a way, to handle those around me, to deal with this, right? To be realistic about it. I'm always praying about a way to help. What words can I say? What can I do to help, to assist? Because it's real frustration. We're talking about people's livelihoods, the fear of feeding your families, the fear of having a roof over your head, the fear of things just not going the way. that you are expected to go, especially during this particular time in your life. And that's a real thing. It's a real thing. As a mother, I completely understand that fear of not being able to provide for your child, to, take your children look to you for everything, right? They're looking to you for everything. They're hungry, they're they're hurting, they're sick, don't know how to relate it. They're going to look to you. When they're scared, they run to their parent, to hold them, to console them, to comfort them, and to bring some type of support, right? So when parents are put in positions where they don't know what they can do, what will happen after making all the right moves, doing all the right things, then it is a scary, scary place. Now, let me say this part. I am 50 years old, come from a generation where when you was growing up, you were pretty much told if you get you a government job, a state job, government job, federal job, you're good to go. Like you start there and you spend the rest of your life in that career until you retire. Like nobody walked away from a federal or government job, right? Because there was security there. There was security in that job, and it provided, right, very well and took care of you and your family. So you didn't worry about that. So a lot of people put in time, got their education, paid for their education to get these jobs, to establish that form of safety and security that we normal people would want. Normal people want security, stability in their lives. Some people feed off chaos. That's their business. But if just is just me speculating, the norm is that most people, let me say everybody, most people desire stability, right? Stability. And so it is important that they establish for themselves, this is what I want to do, because not only is this a passion of mine, but it would provide for me and give me the life that I need and that I wanted. So to live in a time where immediately their jobs are in jeopardy, mind you, they're not thinking that would happen. They're not thinking that because they have planned. This is where I begin and this is where I'm going to retire. They have put in that work. And so they have planned. This is it. And now their lives are shaken up. It's changed, it's shift. And if you've been doing this for 20 years or 15 years and all of a sudden, boom, it's gone. And mind you, the workforce is limited now, right? It's limited. So now you're thrown in this limited workforce because a lot of employers, let me tell you this, based upon your experience and your education, they won't even hire you. They won't. They're going to look at you have 20 years in this field, you have this education. Why do you want to do this? I've heard that before, right? Why do you want to do this? Is this something you really going to do or want to do? Why are you doing? They and then the thing for them is, would you stay here? This is something that and you're probably thinking, I just want to feed my family. I just want to make sure that they have what they need, but they're not accepting that answer. They're wondering, why are you even here? And they can know what's going on in the world, but still they're gonna protect their company, right? Knowing that this is not what you are used to. This is way above your pay grade. I'm way below your pay grade. You used to, getting this amount. We can only give you this amount. How can you settle with that? And you're thinking something is better than nothing, right? This is the environment that they're going to be thrown into, trying to figure out how to continue paying their bills, and feeding their families in an environment where the job pool is small. It's hard to do. And even if they could get, an opportunity to get an interview, they're going to be questioned as to, is this something that you really want? Okay. So people are dealing with real issues, right? Real issues. The environment has completely changed, and not in a good way. People are afraid, people are scared, people are nervous, people are hungry. There's so much information thrown out there, and let me just say, from my own perspective, and this is my perspective and my opinion, there's a lot of lies that are constantly thrown, just lies, 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 lies. So then you're stuck in between what to believe, what not to believe, and what to take in, and what should you not take in. And it's just a lot happening, right? But still, people's lives are being affected. People are hurting. People are struggling. People are trying to figure out, what do I do? Because this was not supposed to happen, right? So let's talk about that. Life. We've spoke so many times on this podcast that the only thing that's consistent is change. The only thing that's consistent in this life is change. Some changes, it's like you can just keep going. You can keep moving. But some changes are so life changing that it's hard to just pick up and move, right? Just pick up and go. You might lose your balance a little bit more. You might be a little shaken. You might be a little lightheaded. Come on. It's some things that happen that is a little bit more challenging to you, that would take you off guard, that will make a real impact in your life. And so we're looking at real life impact moments, real life impact moments. And let me be very honest and transparent with you. I have watched the news so many times that I've really cried and bawled out, crying real tears. It hurts. It hurts. I don't see how anybody can look at what's going on right now. I mean, across our world, not only where I live here, but in the world, and be excited and be happy and be joyful. Like, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? I don't even want to get into the conversation of hearing people who call themselves believers of Christ. I don't even want to get into the conversation because my whole demeanor began to change to hear people speak as if these are good things that are going on that they're saying, because what I see, what I see is a lot of lies. What I see is something that's completely going against what the core values are for our belief system as believers of Christ, believers of the Most High God, right? And the core of that, and I'm going to keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying this, I'm going to keep saying this, because I see it missing in our church lately, for sure. And I say the word church vaguely because they're saying they're part of the church, but their behavior, their attitude, their mentality is the completely opposite of that, because the core of the church is love. It's love. Everything that God did, everything that God does, is love. It's in his son. Love. Telling you to avoid this, avoid that, believe it or not, it's love. Like, that's how he operates. It's in love. So if what you are rooting for, if your words that come out your mouth is not lined up with love, then you are wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. And I can't emphasize that enough. I practice great restraint when I talk on this podcast, because I'm trying my best to say things in a way, in a way that can be received, right? But a lot of times, when people hide behind, that's when you get me to show a little bit more emotion, is when people hide behind the church, when people use the church to say things, to give a reason to do wicked things, to do evil things, because this is historically done. This has been done historically, hiding behind the church and doing wicked things, saying wicked things. And it's ultimately, there's two reasons. It could be more, but I'm gonna tell you two reasons. Power and money. Power and money. That's a lot of times why you see people who are supporting and saying things, hiding behind the church that is not biblically based, that's not Christian values, but they're pretending like it is because they're getting power and money, right? And it hurts. It hurts. And that's when you're gonna see me like just go in like so frustrated about that because it's wrong. It's wrong and it's hurtful to the body of Christ. There are people who are hurting. I always say that there are people who are hurting, people who have real needs, and they don't have time for that. They don't have time for you to pat your pockets, hiding behind pulpits. Um, I have literally been hearing people teach racist remarks, teaching racism and hiding behind a pulpit. What? What? Ignorance. What? Um, saying the most disrespectful things about women. What? Disrespectful things about people from different cultures and backgrounds. What? What? And to see and to see the church support it is crazy times. These are crazy times. Um, it's so much that is going on that it is very hard to process. But this is the silver lining. This is the silver lining to all of this. And I'm so excited to be able to share a silver lining. There was a couple of weeks ago, and I just really wish I could like get this words to you, like really get the words to you. But there is this song. I was talking. Let me set the scene. Let me set the scene for you. So I was having a conversation with my mother, and we were talking. When we go over there to talk to my mother, we are always talking about um politics and everything else. And she was talking, I was talking, and we were just, she was expressing her frustration about everything that's going on. I do the same thing. And so, in the middle of our conversation, right? Because I'm always like just praying about what's going on and thinking about it, right? In the middle of our conversation, I told her, I said, wait, 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 wait. This is what I hear. This is what I hear. And it was like, and this is a song. I want to give him kudos, Bashan Mitchell from Chicago. But I hadn't heard this song in years. And I mean years, 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 years. I'm talking about years, years, years. Don't sing it. I've never sang the song in a church setting, a choir setting, or anything like that. But I used to hear it on the radio. But I'm just trying to say that this song would not have been on my mind. It would not have been on my mind. And I heard this song in my head, and it says like this, it won't always be like this. Um, God will God will provide what's concerning me. I want to get the words right. I don't want to chop up the words. Hold on for 1 minute. Let me make sure. Um, I don't want to chop up the words because it's a particular section that he says that it's a it's a particular section of the song that I should have had this up for you guys, but I did not. But there's a particular section of the song, and I wish I could play it, but you can't. It's a particular section of the song that stuck out for me. Okay, so it says, because I was getting ready to sing it wrong, and I want to get it right, but I heard this one part, and that was it. And it says, it won't always be like this. The Lord will perfect what's concerning me. I mean, that concerning me. The Lord will perfect that concerning me. And sooner or later, it will turn in my favor. It's turning around for me. Let me sing that again for you because I chopped it up and I don't want to do that. It says, and it won't always be like this. The Lord will perfect that concerning me. And sooner or later, turn in my favor. It's turning around for me. And then but that's what stuck with me the most is that sooner or later it will turn in my favor. It's turning around for me, turning around for me. And then there's, around for me, it's turning around for me. But this part, sooner or later, it's going to turn in my favor, turning around for me. That part is stuck. It's stuck. It just, and for 2 weeks, I kept hearing that sooner or later, sooner or later, sooner or later, it'll turn in my favor. It's going to turn in my favor. And listen, I'm a woman of faith. I'm a woman of faith. I am a woman of faith, a woman of faith. And hear me again when I tell you that sooner or later, it'll turn in my favor, turn around for me, turning around for me. This is the silver lining that I'm trying to tell you, that God is going to do what he wants to do, that God is still on the throne. God is the king. God is the ruler. God, God is. And he's going to turn it around. He's going to turn things around. So for those who are suffering, those who are going through, those who don't know where their next meal is coming from, those who are in those long lines for a food pantry, where the food pantry said that our sources are becoming limited, those who don't know what's going to happen to them, those who are struggling, hear me very clearly. God said it's going to turn around for you. See, what man is failing to realize, what man keeps forgetting is that there is a God and there are people who are calling on the name of the Lord. Despite what is going on, despite the ones that you can't tell who's the true believers and who are not, and who is right and who is wrong. I get it. You might not understand and you might not know because you might not be in the church. But hear me, there are some believers who believe in the power of God, who knows that God is real, who knows that God loves people. God loves his creation, and he is not, do you hear me? He is not going to turn his back on the cries of his people. There are people, whether you know it or not, who are crying out to God around the world. How do you know that? Because I prayed about this thing and I can hear him say, listen, Michelle, I got people praying around the world. So you could be limited if you want to. You could think that I don't see it on my block. I don't see it on my street. I don't see it in my community. Well, you don't have to see it to know that God is going to turn this thing around. And it won't always be like this. It will not always be like this. This is what I'm hearing in my spirit. This is what is raining in my head and in my ears. I was simply having a conversation with my mother, simply having a conversation. And that just kept ringing in my ear over and over again. It won't always be like this. It was just ringing and ringing. He's going to perfect that concerning me. And sooner or later, it's going to turn in my favor, turning around for me, turning around for you. That's the silver lining. With all the chaos that's going on in this world, all the chaos that's going on in these countries, all the chaos that's going on in your personal life, because you might say, look, that's happening there, and you might not be feeling the effect of that. Now it came to your door. Now you're feeling the effect of it, because a lot of times we sit in and we feel like, well, that's not happening here. So you don't get to really feel the effect of it. You might pray about it a little bit, right? But now you know. You better pray for your neighbors. Pray for other countries. Pray because look, now it's at our door. It's at your door. You're dealing with some stuff that you never thought you would have to deal with. You're experiencing things you never thought you would have to experience. But hear me clearly. Turning around. Turning around. If you know me, if you've been listening to this podcast for years, if you really have heard me over the years, then you know what I'm telling you is not a lie. It's not a lie. It's not a lie. It won't always be like this. It won't always be like this. It won't always be like this. It kind of feels like I kind of feel like, you know, where you see in the Bible, the man of God said, it seems like the enemies, just they keep flourishing, they keep prospering, right? But then you feel like I'm the one who is trying but getting dumped on. I had a younger person tell me that before. It just seemed like, what's the point? What's the point? It seemed like the wicked seems to thrive and they seem to be fine, right? They doing all this wicked stuff and seem to be okay. But I'm trying and I'm struggling here and I don't understand. It seems like that. So hear me when I say this been happening for a long time, where it seems like the wicked get to do whatever they want to do with no consequences. Nothing happens, right? They just doing and hurting, being cruel and evil and a villain to people, right? And it feels like you're trying to do everything that you're supposed to do. You didn't lined up your ducks in a row, doing things that you think is to be expected, the right things, the right moves, and everything else, right? But boom, all this stuff start happening to you when you're trying to figure out like what's going on. How? I've done what I'm supposed to do. Why? Why? That's everybody has asked that question. One point in your life, you lived long enough. Why? Why? Right? It won't always last. It won't always be like this. It won't last. We used to sing a song back in the day, say, trouble don't last always, right? I'm so glad trouble don't last always. The Bible tells us, weeping may endure for a night, but joy's gonna come in the morning. And I did a sermon one time, and it says that I said, sometimes that night seems so long, but joy is coming in the morning. And I remember using this analogy of New Year's Eve, right? That New Year's Eve, that night seems a long time because you're anticipating that New Year's Day. You're anticipating being able to celebrate and say, Happy New Year's, right? So the night seems very long when you're waiting. The nights, come on, somebody. Come on. The night seems so long when you're waiting. The night seems so long when you're anticipating the change, the shift. I get it. I get it. But that New Year's Day is going to come. That next day will come. That morning will come. When have you ever been sick at night? Because being sick at night seems like the longest nights in the world. I've been there. I've been there looking at my phone, the clock, just watching the time go and just saying, my God, this has been the longest night ever. I'm so exhausted. I'm gonna sleep the next day. I'm so tired. Right? Because you anticipate that this moment will pass. This moment will end. I won't have to sit here and keep suffering and going through this sickness and this affliction. And it seemed like forever. That night seemed long, right? It seems like forever. I have been sick before for maybe it's like a week or a half or so, and it felt like a month or two because it takes so much from you, right? But what really makes it feel long is the anticipation of the healing process, the anticipation of when this is over. When will I feel better? When will this go away? When will this stop? It's the anticipation that makes it feel so much longer. So much longer. And to be honest, depending on our mindset in the midst of that, that determines how long it goes. That determines how long how long we feel it, right? Because our mindsets are very important during the process. But hear me again when I tell you this. It will not last. It will always be like this. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy is coming. Joy will be here. Joy is coming. It's coming for you. It's coming for me. And I know you have that nagging. Y'all can't see me. Those who are not watching the podcast and hearing the podcast, you can't see my face. But there is a nagging that happens that says, please, please. I don't see anything changing. I don't feel like this will change. It's not gonna be over soon enough for me. So I don't know how that. There's a lot of nagging and thoughts that lingers to try to pull you into a place that you don't need to be. What you should be staying at right now, where you should be adamant about and intentional about, is saying it won't always be like this. This is let me say this, and I'm gonna sum this up because this is what happened. There were some things that I was going through, some things that I was facing, some things that I was dealing with. And I wasn't dealing with it the right way. And I remember God kind of revealing to me, Michelle, you took me out the scenario. You took me out the picture. You was dealing with it as if you was dealing with it by yourself. I am here. I have always been here. I have never left you. I have never forsaken you, and I never will. You took me out of the scenario. And I thought about that. I thought about that and I was like, he's right. Because I literally was thinking about it, handling it, facing it as if God was not there, as if he wasn't a factor. He wasn't a factor. And he's always a factor. He's always there. And the reason I'm saying that to you is because as you are shifting, as you are beginning to deal with all the things that we are looking at, all the things that we're dealing with, I want you to remember this, whether these are faith-based people talking to you, supposed to be faith-based people talking to you, and they saying things that you say, this ain't lining up with the word of God. How dare they call themselves believers and all that, and how can they get away with that and all that, whether it be your political leaders, whether it be, people in your family, whether it be your jobs, whether it be whatever it is, hear me very clearly. God is still a factor. He's still a factor. He's still a factor. And you can't take him out of the scenario if you wanted to. He is a factor. Remember that. Remember that God is in the midst. He is a factor. And all you have to do is remember that it will not always be like this. I think that as I close this up, because we're talking faith-based today, um, it is so important and it's imperative for those to speak up the truth, speak in love, speak in love, and speak up and speak the truth. The church, the real church, not the lukewarm church, not the church who's trying to get something for themselves, not the church who's trying to benefit, not the church who wants just power and money and forgets the core values of what Christianity is. But the real church needs to speak up. The real church needs to open their mouth and speak up and say, if it is not lining up with the word of the Lord, which is love, if it's not, and I don't care, there's some very influential people who are doing things and saying things that are in churches and outside of churches but who are not lining up with the word of the Lord. I don't know how we are misconstruing things. I don't understand how we have gotten to a place where we we're just manipulating, taking bits and pieces out of the values, the moral values, the core values of our belief system. We're just taking them out and just putting in whatever we want. We just making just whatever we want now, doing whatever we want. Do you understand there's consequences to this? Like there is consequences to this. To this journey, to this life. There's consequences to this. There's consequences to this. So as much as we believe that people are just doing whatever they want to do and get away with it, it won't always be like this. It just won't. And I talk about the church a lot because I come from the church and I've been in church my entire life. And so I always hold the church to a different standard, right? There's accountability. And so in the church, it's influencing other people. And and so that's why I speak on the church a lot. And I will always speak on the church. I will always speak that the church has an accountability. The church leaders have an accountability. And it hurts. It hurts me to see what I see. You know, my father is was a pastor, and I couldn't imagine him saying some of this stuff and behaving the way that I've seen some of the leadership, do these days. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. My father believed in helping people. He believed in servicing people. That's where I got it from, servicing and helping people. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Last time I checked, if you're a believer of Christ, last time I checked, he wasn't caring about a fan base. Last time I checked, he would do things that was miracles and say, "Hey, don't even tell anybody." Okay, he wasn't care. He did not care about getting the numbers up, the people, you know, praising him like that. As he walked this earth, that he had a job to do. He had a job to do. He was focused. You so focused on your money. You're so focused on your fan base. You're so focused on getting your pews full only to get the money that you're forgetting. What did you get it in for? What was your purpose of getting into ministry in the first place? It's just too control and manipulation. Control, manipulation, power, and money is what I see. And unfortunately, you get people who are hurting, who are vulnerable, who come from broken backgrounds and have horrible experiences, and they are easily manipulated, and that these leaders manipulate them. And it makes me sick. It makes me sick. Absolutely sick. Absolutely sick. Um, I'm gonna end this podcast on this note. And I'm gonna say this. I wasn't going to say this. I'm not gonna use names, okay? But I'm gonna tell you. Well, you probably, if you don't know, um, you can look it up. But there is a viral video that some people have said has been taken out of context. We're gonna talk about this is something within a church. Some people say, oh, it was taken out of context because it's something happened before that was said and all this. But let me give you the gist of it so we can conclude this. And this is why I get so frustrated about the church. So let me set the scene really quick so we can end this podcast. There is a well-known prominent singer pastor. He's in front of his congregation. Apparently he asked them to sow a seed of a certain amount of money. I believe it was $2,000. Don't want to use no names. I don't want to do that. I don't use names for several reasons, but one reason I just don't want to share credit with these people regarding this nonsense, but just know it exists. Look it up if you want to. So, they asked for $2,000 for whatever reason. Don't know. I don't care. I didn't look into the research of that part. But I know people saying there's a reason why he asked for the money. It was a reason, and all this. Church people cracks me up when they make excuses for behavior that is so unlike, so unlike what was supposed to be done. So, and mind you, I've been in church a long time, so I pretty much know how the politics work in church, how the demeanor, how you're supposed to act. And once again, I come from a first family, so I know what behavior should look like and what things should be done and what should never ever be done. So I come from experience. I'm not just talking. I'm a PK kid. I know what I'm talking about. So, um, this I don't like people. Let me just say this part too. I can give my opinion. I don't like when people make like big things about giving money. Like, this line is for $1,000 line. This is for $200 line. This is for $400 line in church. I hate it. Hate it. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. I do not care anymore. But I hate it. I think you shouldn't do that. I think what people give is what they have. If they don't give everything that they, supposed to give or whatever, that's between them and God. Who are you to check somebody about what they give? Okay, so that's why I don't believe in 1,000 line, 200 line, who cares? Put that stuff in a basket and move on with y'all lives and stop counting people's money. You don't know what their bills are like. Trying to embarrass people. I'm in $100 line or $50 line or $20 line. Everybody else in the $1,000 line make me feel bad. Don't make me feel bad. That's all I got. And I don't have to give that explanation to you. I should not have to. That's ridiculous. Y'all know I start talking about I be on my horse. I get frustrated about it. You see that. Because I don't understand it. What are we doing? This has got nothing to do with God. Got nothing to do with God. Nothing to do with God. So he stands up there, asks for $2,000. This lady gets up there with a young child. People say it's a son. Don't know. Okay. I feel bad for the kid because he's standing there with his mom or parent or, whoever the person was to him, right? Standing there. The woman gives. She announces her name. She announces what she's doing, and she announces that she's giving $1,200. Okay. The man, minister, pastor, tells her pretty much this is not what I asked for. Pretty much what she said. This is not, he pretty much telling her this is not the instructions that was given to you, right? And kind of reprimanding her for not following those instructions, right? Um, I asked for $2,000, right? And you're bringing me $1,200. And the lady, instead of her, because this is embarrassment, you hear me? She might come back and say something different. I don't even know her personally, but it's embarrassing. She's in front of everybody. The cameras are on her. The church is full. And you told her you're not following instructions. You have reprimanded her like she's a child in front of a child, in front of everybody. And she stands there and she goes, well, I'm gonna work on the other $800. What I heard when she said that was, I don't have it. I don't have it. If she said I have to work on the other $800, she didn't have it. She gave what she had. That's it. That's the scripture. That's the seed. That's the good seed. That's the right seed. It's what she gave. Because she said afterwards, I'm gonna work on the $800. And even when she said that, he had something else to say about her not following the instructions and making it clear to everybody else. Y'all need to pretty much follow these instructions. Like this is what he wanted. You all, that video disturbed me enough for me to share it with you. It disturbed me. And people say, oh, they always want to bring down the church did y'all stop doing that? Stop. These are grown adults who are making decisions in a position of power to say things and do things that they're not supposed to do and say. And because everything is recorded now, people get to see you in action live, right there on the spot. And it is what it is. Look, people can make mistakes. God is a forgiving God, right? People can make mistakes. But what y'all need to stop doing is making excuses for those type of mistakes. Stop saying, "Oh, it was taken out of context." Oh, it's no. You got to be blind and deaf not to hear the tone. I'm disciplining you right now in front of everybody. You gotta act. You all are acting like you can't think for yourselves. Like this is absolutely ridiculous. It's wrong. It's wrong. And I won't give any more, insight because I don't know what was going on with him that day. I don't know if that's his regular demeanor. I respect the family. Absolutely. They have history in the gospel industry and history in the church and I respect the family, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna say I didn't see that. And I'm gonna speak on it because number one, it was recorded, put out there live for everybody to see. And then I want to make sure that those who are outside of church, because I love to protect those who are not outside, who are not in the church, because I want them to get in the church. So I'm quick to say to those outside the church, that is not normal behavior. That should not happen. And that is not okay. And I want you to separate the man and the woman from the faith. Separate these people. Stop making it seem as if, you know, they can't make mistakes and that ain't wrong. It's wrong. Call it what it is. If church people would be more honest and more transparent, then we can get more people who has not ever been to church and ain't planning on going to church to come to church. But y'all keep lying and covering and making excuses and because they have platforms that we supposed to just disregard everything that they do. No, they are human beings. They made a mistake. And I would rather them come and say I made a mistake and God forgive me. Repent and move on. But y'all, when y'all start lying for them and making all these excuses for them and all that, you make it more out of it than what it could have been. What it could have been. We make mistakes, but some people just act like they are above that. I like they have a right to talk to people any type of way because you are standing in a pulpit. I have never thought that in my life. I've been in plenty of pulpits. And it came to a point where I would just sit down in the audience because it was a lot of stuff going on up in the pulpit, to be honest with you. It just really was. I have never thought, ever, ever thought that I was better. Never thought that I was to look down on anybody. Literally, every time I literally thought what an honor it was to be there, what an honor it was to share the gospel, what an honor it was to be able to connect with some people, pour into some people, share into some. That's why I took it. I never, I never asked for a dime. Never had my hand out to anybody or nothing. I've been to retreats. I've been to conferences. I spoke at them. I sang at them. Never did I ever think I'm above anybody. Never thought that I'm arrogant. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to share the gospel. I'm going to share my experiences. I'm going to share my journey. I'm going to share Jesus' journey. I'm going to share Apostle Paul's journey. I'm going to share the teachings of Christ. I'm going to share the love with Christ. So when you walk away from this experience, you're going to be like, wow, let me check into this God thing. It must be something to it. But you ain't going to, I don't understand that my mind can't wrap around the nonsense of the arrogance and the pride and the pious behavior of individuals who are supposed to be sharing a message, a message of hope, love, deliverance. Come on, breakthrough. Do better. Do better. Do better. The best thing we can do for ourselves, especially as believers, as church people, um, do some reflection. Do some reflection, and go back to why did you do this in the first place? If you're in leadership, why did you do it? Why did God really call you? And if He called you, what did He call you for? Because it's not to be judgmental, to be cruel, to be vicious, to be hurtful, to be demeaning, to be racist. No, He didn't call you for that. He did not. He did not. He called you to love, to love, to share his message in love and compassion. And compassion. In closing, I'm going to share one more story with you. In closing, the other day I was driving into like an outlet, driving around to get out of this outlet. And over in the corner, I saw a person that was under layers of like blankets and laying on like a garbage bag that looked like it was padded up with things. It was cold that day. It's getting cold here in Illinois. And my husband and I kind of like looked, and it was so heartbreaking to, to see, right? And to know that it can become more and more like that. I seen a lot when I used to work downtown, but this is like a south suburb, and it's in the middle of a outlet mall, like, and it was not normal to see that. That's my point. It wasn't normal to see that, happening in that type of environment. And so it broke my heart. Once again, I'm a crybaby, right? So, and I'm a crybaby because certain things just bother me, right? It bothers me. And so I began to just like weep, weep, weep for that person, praying for that person. Um, People on the street for different reasons, right? But times are changing now. That's my point. Times are changing. And I began to share with my husband a story of when I was very young and I went to go take out the garbage. But I ran out. It was cold outside. And I ran out because I just wanted to do it and get over with. And so I didn't wear any shoes, any socks, or any a coat or nothing. I was young, so I didn't have no sense running outside like that. And I ran outside and I was so cold. I just want to get to this garbage can and get right back in the house where I knew it was warm and that it was comfortable. And I remember saying when I did it, I said, wow, I got somewhere to go. I got a warm place to run into. And I began, even as a kid, I was thinking, like, what about those who don't have a place to go? They can't run into a place to get warm. So when I saw that individual, I began to think about that. I began to think about that. And so times are changing, things are hard. You know, it's it's a silver lining coming here. It's a silver lining coming here. And I want you all to remember that, to pray for those that are homeless, pray for those who are broken, pray for those who are suffering, pray for those who are sick and afflicted. It could be you, it could be me, it can happen to anybody. Things, you know, it can happen, right? And so we want to show compassion, we want to show love, and we want to show support as much as we can, especially now. We never tried it before, try it now. Show some love, show some support, and pray. Pray for our country. Pray for our country. So, God bless you guys, and thank you for listening to Renew Mind Revolution podcast. My encouragement to you today is to remember what I said. It won't always be like this. Thank you for Sean Mitchell for a wonderful song that is literally resonating in this season of our lives. God bless you guys, and thank you for listening to Renewed Mind Revolution podcast with your host, Michelle Kakal. I love you, but most importantly, God loves you more. And do not forget to check out Renewed Mind Journal. That's available on my website at www.michellechall.com or any of my social media platforms. Connect with me there. And if you're the first 10 people, you will get your copy for free if you were to just pay for postage and handling. God bless you guys, and thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.
Changing the world one heart